Philosophy. Philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. From the word philo means love and sophia means wisdom. It is the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel.
Aristotle, his teachings as foundation in education. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. This line of Aristotle means the relationship with yourself is one of the most important relationships in your life. You do not have a full understanding of yourself, then how are others supposed to get to know you? Aristotle was born on the Chalcidic peninsula of Macedonia in northern Greece. His father, Nicomachus, was the physician of Amyntas III, reigned c. 393 to c. 370 BCE, king of Macedonia and grandfather of Alexander the Great, reigned 336-323 BCE. After his father's death in 367, Aristotle migrated to Athens, where he joined the Academy of Plato, c. 428 to c. 348 BCE. He remained there for 20 years as Plato's pupil and colleague. When Plato died in 347, Aristotle left Athens soon after. He spent 5 years on the coast of Asia Minor and married his wife Pythias, with whom he has only daughter, also named Pythias. Aristotle's writings fall into two groups: those that were published by him but are now almost entirely lost, and those that were not intended for publication but were collected and preserved by others. 1. Consists mainly of popular works. 2. Comprises treatises that Aristotle used in his teachings. It was at the Lyceum that Aristotle probably composed most of his approximately 200 works, of which only 30 survive. In style, his known works are dense and almost jumbled, suggesting that they were lecture notes for internal use at his school. The surviving works of Aristotle are grouped into 4 categories, and those are theoretical sciences, practical sciences, productive sciences, and organon. Theoretical sciences consist of physics, mathematics, and theology, are those that have no product and no practical goal, but in which information and understanding are sought for their own sake. Practical science, most notably ethics and politics, are those that guide behavior. Productive science, naturally enough, are those that have a product. They include not only engineering and architecture, which are products like bridges and houses, but also disciplines such as strategy and rhetoric, where the product is something less concrete, such as victory on the battlefield or in the courts. The organon. It is a set of writings that provided a logical toolkit for use in any philosophical or scientific investigation. The organon, or an organon, is a Latin word which means instrument. Logic, physics and metaphysics, philosophy of science, philosophy of mind, ethics, political theory, rhetoric, poetics. Those are the books that are well known until now. Inside this logic book, syllogistic, it is a central method of inference that can be illustrated by familiar examples, propositions, and categories, universal or every, predicated of something else or terms. Physics and metaphysics. Physics is the natural philosophy, and metaphysics was written quite literally after his physics. He called it the first philosophy or wisdom. Aristotle also uses it in causation, form, matter, and even a logic-based argument for the existence of God. In this book of philosophy of science, it is the scientific knowledge must be built up out of demonstration or syllogism, one whose premises can be traced back to principles that are true, necessary, universal, and immediately intuited. He set out a number of rules giving necessary conditions for the validity of syllogism, such as the following. In his book of Philosophy of Mind, Aristotle regarded psychology as part of natural philosophy, and he wrote much about the philosophy of mind. This material appears in his ethical writings, in a systematic treatise on the nature of the soul, or the anima, and in a number of minor monographs on topics such as sense of perception, memory, sleep, and dreams. The souls of living beings are ordered by Aristotle in hierarchy. Humans, in addition, have the power of reason and thought, or what we call logismus kai dianoia, which may be called a rational soul. The way in which Aristotle structured the soul of and its faculties influenced not only philosophy but also a science for nearly 2 millennia. The objects of sense come into two kinds: those that are proper to particular senses, such as color, sound, and taste, and smell, and those that are perceivable by more than one sense, such as motion, number, shape, and size. One can tell, for example, whether something is moving either by watching it or by feeling it, and so motion is a common sensible. Although there is no special organ for detecting common sensible, there is a faculty that Aristotle calls a central sense. When one encounters a horse, for example, one may see, hear, feel, and smell it. It is the central sense that unifies the sensations into perceptions of a single object, though the knowledge that this object is a horse is, for Aristotle, a function of intellect rather than sense. In his Ethics, or teleological, happiness is the term that Aristotle uses to designate the highest human good, is the usual translation of the Greek eudaimonia. Human beings must have a function because particular types of humans, example, sculptors, do, as do the parts and organs of individual human beings. People's virtues are a subset of their good qualities. They are not innate like eyesight, but are acquired by practice and lost by disuse. Virtues are states of character that find expression both in purpose and in action. Action and contemplation of a man is the pleasures that are the domain of temperance, intemperance, and incontinence are the familiar bodily pleasures of food, drink, and sex. In treating of pleasure, however, Aristotle explores a much wider field. There are two classes of aesthetic pleasures: the pleasures of the inferior senses of touch and taste, and the pleasures of the superior senses of sight, hearing, and smell. In his book of political theory, Man is a Political Animal, goal is to investigate on the basis of the constitutions collected what makes good government and what makes for bad government, and to identify the factors of favorable and unfavorable to the preservation of a constitution. Aristotle says that government must be in the hands of one, of a few, or of the many, and governments may govern for the general good or for the good of the rulers. Government by a single person for the general good is called monarchy. For private benefit, it's called tyranny. Government by a minority is aristocracy if it aims at the state's best interest, and oligarchy if it benefits only the ruling minority. Popular government in the common interest, Aristotle calls polity. He reserves the word democracy for anarchic mob rule. Rhetoric and poetics. Rhetoric is a topic neutral discipline that studies possible means of persuasion. Then poetics, drama, imitations of everyday life, contrast between poetry and history. In rhetoric, Aristotle described three main subforms of rhetoric. Those are ethos, logos, and pathos.